Turning now to the push by presidential candidates for endorsements to help shore up and propel their campaigns. All candidates chase them. All candidates want them. One endorsement already solidly in Hillary Clinton's camp is that of the American Federation of Teachers Union. So how much will the AFT and its 1.6 million members help Secretary Clinton, and why was she chosen over Bernie Sanders? Let's find out from Randi Weingarten, president of the AFT. By the way, Mrs. Weingarten and her union became the first national union to endorse a candidate in the 2016 Democratic primary. She joins me from Washington. Why so early, Randi? Why did you do it in July?
So, you know, Larry, when it comes to school teachers and other school workers, we actually get together with our members in big conferences in the summer. And so the summer tends to be a time when you're going to have these very, very serious conversations. And by having it next summer, it's a little bit too late. But look, as we all knew from last summer, this campaign was very much in full, full energy mode. And people like the Koch brothers and others had actually been very involved and had said that they were going to put in almost $1 billion into this. And so what we've learned is that if you want to actually help shape a race, not just chase a race, you have these conversations as early as you can. And we had lots of conversations with lots of our members. We did a couple of polls. We did a couple of town hall meetings. She came into our executive council, as did Bernie. And they're both great people. And frankly, they voted the same way 93% of the time. But the reason we went with Hillary was because she is about eliminating obstacles, not building walls. And I think she said this in South Carolina better than I've ever heard her say before, which is America doesn't have to become great again. America is great. What America needs is to become whole. And we need to actually work together to make sure that every working person, every family has their American dream. And that's what I think she's connecting with people about.
Don't you think quite a few of your rank and file will vote for Bernie?
Well, we've actually done a bunch of polling, and I've been around the country. Everyone loves Bernie, and we love that he's in the Senate. But our people, by a 3-to-1 margin, are very much in favor of Hillary because the big difference between the two of them is not their values. The values, you look at the difference between what's happening in the Democratic race versus the shouting match versus the xenophobia versus, in the Republican race, the Republican frontrunner can't even disavow a David Duke. But the difference between Bernie and Hillary is that it's not just about the passion, it's about the ability to get things done. And I think that's what our members have seen in terms of her actions as First Lady, as Secretary of State, and frankly, as our senator from New York State. I saw it, after 9/11, when many of us were so concerned about what was happening in terms of the health of the people on the pile of where the buildings were demolished, and what she did was she understood how important it was to help the people who were doing that work, that they were going to get sick, and how important it was to try and make sure that their health needs were taken care of. And frankly, for me, who was very involved in New York at that time, that's when I went from somebody who supported her before to somebody who really believed in her, because I saw not only the passion and the commitment, but the moxie to get things done, to go across the aisle and make sure that she wouldn't take no for an answer.
When you endorsed her in 2008 against Barack
Yes.
Obama, won that. Is she a better candidate now?
Well, I think it's a different time. And in the last few weeks, I've seen the Hillary Clinton that we saw when she ran for Senate in New York State and went to every single county. I think what's happening right now is that the electorate is different, and there is such a disenfranchisement. There's such an anger. There's such a sense of, wait a second, America is better than this. What happened to the ladder of opportunity? And I think what you're seeing in the last few weeks is her being able to connect with people like I saw in her New York race.
You're critical of charter schools. Is Hillary on your side on that?
Well, what we're critical of, Larry, and let me be really clear, frankly, I run a charter school in the South Bronx, and we've had most of our kids graduate from that school for the last 5 years, and we're very proud of the original notion that Al Shanker had with charters, which was, how do you actually try new things and innovate, and if they work, you bring them to the regular public school setting or regular public school systems. What we are critical of is when you have places like Alliance Charter Schools in Los Angeles where the teachers want to unionize and they're doing everything in their power to stop them from doing it, including there's an injunction now that says to this organization, you know, you have to let people have a voice. We're critical of places where like in New Orleans, where they fired all the teachers, where they stopped having any public schools to have some charters. We're critical of places like Ohio, where the charters were much more inclined to have land grabs, or Florida, land grabs instead of actually educating kids. And so we're critical of those entities that are trying to use charters like for-profit higher education institutions to make a profit or to supplant public schools or to actually deny public school students the revenues that they need to make a life for themselves. That's what we're critical of.
Have you exchanged any emails with Hillary over the years?
I think 2 or 3 of the emails that we exchanged when she was at State Department have been revealed. You know, and yes, we have exchanged a couple of emails every now and then. But frankly, I prefer to have real conversations with people like she had at our Executive Council and have, you know, real transparency and real accountability.
What do you make of that whole controversy?
Look, I have listened to Condi Rice. I've listened to Colin Powell. And every single, or my understanding is, every single Secretary of State had some email system that they used. The bottom line is, as Hillary has said, and she's disclosed every single one of her emails, is that she never sent or received, when it was sent or received, classified information. And ultimately, what I'm watching is that for the last 2 decades, maybe almost 3 decades, everything that this woman does, it's subject to incredible scrutiny. It is as if the slime just gets thrown at her because people want to stop her from doing the kinds of things she tries to do to make a difference in the lives of families, in the lives of children, in the lives of communities. And there is a double standard here in terms of her versus so many others. And frankly, that's what happened with Citizens United. That case is about her. That's what's happening in terms of the all these right-wing groups that are doing lawsuit after lawsuit against her and her husband. And what you're seeing with her is a resilience and a tenacity to try to solve problems. And that's what I think we want in a president.
What do you think of what's going on in the Republican Party?
You know, so watching the last debate on CNN, where they just kept screaming at each other, you wonder, how does anybody like that comport themselves to be president of the United States of America? I mean, our country is based upon the rule of law, and it is based upon a civitas and a sense that, you know, sorry to be the old high school social studies teacher, the Lockean social contract, where we give up some rights to have the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so watching that last debate, where the moderators tried as hard as they could to actually make it civil, and these folks screaming at each other, I thought was a low point in American politics. And watching Donald Trump basically stoke the fears of people. And people are angry. They want a better life. We want the American dream. And after the last recession, there's a lot of people who have not been able to have the same situation that their dreams really want us to have. And so you understand that anger. but seeing the kind of stoking of fear and stoking of hate, we are better than that. This is the United States of America. We are the richest country in the world. Yes, we as labor, we fight bad bosses. We fight for fairness. We fight for voice. But we have to lift all boats. We have to actually have a ladder of opportunity. And frankly, as someone who is the grandchild of Ukrainian immigrants, of Jewish folks who came from oppression, I don't want to see our generation pull up that ladder of opportunity from others. We are a nation of immigrants. We are a nation that Emma Lazarus said, give us your child, give us your poor. That's who we are.
If Hillary were elected and offered you an administration post, would you take it?
I am incredibly happy doing what I do every single day. Working with kids, working with teachers, working with nurses, and I really want to do what I do.
So you would refuse?
I'm not entertaining the question. That's not what our endorsement is about. That's not what our work is about. We want to see an America that works for all people, that creates a ladder of opportunity for all. We want to see the barriers broken. We want to see their people having their American dream.
Randi, always good seeing you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Larry.
Randi Weingarten, president of the American Federation of Teachers.